So a Nutritarian diet, I know we covered this on the podcast, but I don't even think about it. So is like 60% carbs, 20% fat, 20% protein?
Yes, you're close.
Okay. What would you say is the recommendation?
Because it's not going to get 20% protein. That's really high.
Oh, that's okay.
It's probably between 15 and 18% protein in that range. And it's probably around 20%, 25% fat. And so it's about 60% carbs, 25% fat. So we're talking about being in that 20 to 30% calories from fat, which is in that range of, let's say, for a thin person eating a very little amount of calories, maybe 1 ounce of nuts, but for most people, 1.5 ounces, or larger men, 2 ounces of nuts a day. So we're talking about, because in the Seventh-day Adventist Health Study 2, we showed that the non-nut eating vegans had a much shorter lifespan than the nut-eating vegans. And even the fish-eating the people who were plant-based and ate fish occasionally did better than the vegans who didn't eat nuts and seeds. They're showing you needed some of that beneficial fats.
Oh, wow.
There was some, the longest lived in the Prevamid study where they tested olive oil against nuts and seeds. The longest lived in the most reduced heart attacks there were the people that were eating nuts and seeds at baseline, and they were randomized to be eating nuts and seeds, not olive oil. In any case, but so what I'm showing so with this, with the higher intake of nuts and seeds, you have the most cardiovascular and reduction of cardiovascular death, and the most reduction in all-cause mortality, which includes cancer deaths. And I was saying the Achilles heel of a diet to reverse heart disease for people who think they shouldn't eat any nuts and seeds. They're afraid they're going to gain fat if they eat any, or it's going to be better if they have none, is that they could develop a higher risk of atrial fibrillation or a cardiac arrhythmia in later life because they're not protecting the heart with those beneficial fats, and they're not getting the full cancer protection from the diet either because of you absorb, we're talking about 20 to 50 times as much of the anti-cancer phytonutrients when there's fat present in the meal compared to a meal with no extra fat in the meal. So we think that the reason why these people on these plant-based fat-restricted diets are not maximizing their lifespan, they're still better than the standard American diet. The doctors recommending those diets are still getting good results, but not as good as not with the long-term benefits of a Nutritarian diet, which still gets those same beneficial results without putting people at risk of these fat deficiencies,
Totally. So if we're talking about fats, I feel like for a long time, and maybe I don't know, maybe this is in the 80s or 90s, but people were really against fat. Like they saw everything as like, that's saturated fat, cut that out. You don't want the monounsaturated fat. There's just and now then you have like modern day that is pushing like keto and only fat and carnivore. So what
pasture-raised butter,
raw butter,
ghee, raw butter.
Yeah, add the fat. So just to clear it up, what's the deal with like saturated fat, monounsaturated fat, the oils? I know nuts and seeds have good quality fats that are slow in the body,
right?
Rapid in the bloodstream.
They're low in saturated fat.
Low in saturated
except
fat.
for coconut.
Okay.
Coconut's high in saturated fat.
So low in saturated fat, but they still have some. So
they still have some saturated fat. That's correct.
So you're not even saying all saturated fats.
You don't have to get all of it out because you have the body burns it for energy, and the body can utilize some saturated fat, a small amount, but not the high amount Americans are eating.
Right, and so there's a ton more, I'm assuming, in meat.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then I kind of want to dive into oils a bit too, because I feel like it's also trendy to vilify seed oils, they call it. Mm-hmm. But then everyone has their hats off to olive oil. It's like olive oil is the savior. And is that better than other seed oils like canola oil?
Yes.
Okay. So that's true too.
There are studies that show that when people, because of the phenolic content in olive oil, and there are studies that show that adding olive oil to a very low-fat diet has some benefits versus no oil.
Right.
Some of these, and some of these really low-fat vegans don't thrive. They get dry skin. They can become more irritable, and they don't feel as well, and they could go back to eating meat, thinking there's something wrong with the vegan diet. Whereas if they knew and then other vegans are thinking that if they eat any nuts and seeds, it's because reason why they gain weight and can't lose weight. Mm-hmm. It's not true. It's not what the studies show, and it's not what our individual experience has shown. Actually, the inclusion of our experience is that the inclusion of moderate amounts of nuts and seeds with meals in the form of dressings and sauces and as an ingredient in the dishes helps people be more satiated, more satisfied with the meal, less needing to snack in between meals, and better able to control their appestat and their appetite. The appetite's down here, the appestat's up here.
And I've
And
experienced that, me
right.
for sure.
And the combination of beans with fat from nuts and seeds, with the green vegetables, having all the foods in one meal, it also delays gastric emptying. So there you have stimulation of GLP-1 receptors, the stimulation of the appestat with the butyrate production in the brain. We have all these things making us not needing to eat as often, not feeling we've got to keep eating calories all day long, and making us feel satisfied with less food. Me too. Sometimes it's 12 o'clock for lunch and I'm not even hungry yet. My breakfast satisfied me for so long. It makes us being able to be comfortable with less calories.